Alright, what's going on YouTube? It's Trev back again. So we've reviewed some figures in the last few days that are some of the best Marvel Legends, some of my favorite Marvel Legends. We're talking Marvel Legends top 10 countdowns coming up pretty soon. But I thought, why not start from the beginning? I mean really start from the beginning. To me, the Marvel Legends series, even though there was two Spider-Man Classic series before Marvel Legends started, for me, the real start of Marvel Legends, wasn't in the Spider-Man Classics. It was in Wave 1, these figures right here. Even though the Articulation was invented, sort of came up through into comic book figures in the Spider-Man Classics form, this series, to me, it was really what caught my attention. Spider-Man, I'm a sort of a Spider-Man fan, but not really. He's okay. I like the character. I can understand. He's very unique, and a lot of people love him. But for me, I like a lot of other characters in comic books a lot more than Spider-Man. And Captain America is definitely one of those characters. Captain America is one of my favorite characters there are in all of comic books. Or in general. Any show, any medium, Captain America is one of the best. And this here is actually the first Marvel Legends figure I ever got. I don't mean this exact one, because the one that I got I freaking ripped open about 30 seconds later when I got into the car. I was in grade 10 at the time. This was a long time ago. I got it at a Walmart, and I lost the figure a couple years later. I went to college and stuff, high school. You move a lot, you do a lot of things. I ended up losing this guy. I don't know what happened. So anyway, I found him again after I started collecting Marvel Legends again, and I had to get one mint on card. Now this card is in really good shape. Looks, factory, just like fresh out of the factory. Just a throwback for sure. I like having this figure. This to me is one of the ultimate collector's items because it was my first. Before this, I was a Marvel Legends version. So anyway, so very cool packaging. You've got the Toy Biz Marvel Legends, symbol. That's awesome. I hope in 2012 they bring this back. Bonus 32-page comic book. Absolutely sick, man. You've got the diorama base. You've got the comic in the background. Series 1. They knew they were going to do more than one series. 6-inch. Captain America over 30 points of articulation. Wall-mounted display stand. Awesome, man, just awesome. So yeah, and this guy was like, I think it was $7-8, something like that at the time. Just amazing, man. So for this one, I actually will read his description. I don't usually do this, but Marvel Legends. When the shadow of evil falls across the land, the world's greatest champions strike for justice. Spider-Man, the X-Men, Thor, Iron Man, the Thunderbolts, the Fantastic Four, Captain Marvel, Hulk, the Avengers, Captain America, Black Panther, the Defenders. For over 60 years, fans of all ages have been shouting, "Make mine Marvel." What a gay slogan that was, "Make mine Marvel." I think your universe is better than "Make mine Marvel." That's just gay. That sounds like a Stan Lee thing, honestly. I don't know. That's an old school, saying, but that's pretty stupid. You've got the symbols here, very cool. And where's Cap? Of course, he's at the top right there. So Captain America, when in 1941, a frail young patriot agreed to be a test for an experimental super soldier serum, he was transformed into Captain America, the living symbol of freedom. His body is now physically perfect, his courage unmatched, and his fighting skills cannot be equaled. Cap joined World War II and helped the Allies win the war. After spending the decades following the war in suspended animation, he was revived by the mighty Avengers, a superhero ground this charismatic born leader would eventually command. Collect them all. And then, of course, you've got Cap, you've got the Hulk, you've got Iron Man, who had two variants, who I will be showing and reviewing later, and you've got the Toad. So definitely the first wave of Marvel Legends. This is a legendary wave for sure for collectors. That's for sure. So I'm going to put this guy in the back, and let's take a look at a loose version. I don't have the base, but you can see the base there. It's nothing crazy anyway. It's just a kind of like a war-torn tank with a background and then the American flag. So here is the loose version I have. Now, one of the big problems with this figure is you can see here, he's missing a wingtip on the top of his head. And what happens with these figures is because I have this Captain America, for a long time, always at the front of my collection. he tends to fall off a lot. He's getting older now, so the joints are pretty loose, and I got it from somebody loose on eBay. So the ankles are, what'll happen is a lot of the figures would fall, and then, you know, like dominoes, this guy would be the one to go off the shelf. And that broke. And I'm not the only one. I know a lot of guys have dropped theirs, and that will break. That's one of the most common, you know, things that break on any Marvel Legend is the wingtips from this particular Captain America. So probably the same reason, probably because people will have them all at the front of their collections. So definitely since then we have gotten a better cap. We've gotten the face-off cap, and I'll do a comparison with him in a minute. But this cap to me is very, you know, retro, very cool, very reminiscent of Marvel Legends when they started, and to me definitely a special figure, one of my favorite figures I own for sure. The shield looks great. This was the first time we got a real good cap shield. The poses you can get with this guy, you can get this guy into amazing poses, man, and he looks great too. The look on him, you know, his eyes are blue. You got the square jaw, you know. He looks a lot like Steve Rogers. Very nice, very cartoony though, very cartoony looking version. This guy reminds me of the Marvel vs. Capcom sort of version with the bright blue colors, or, you know, one you would see on a cartoon, not the new Avengers cartoon, but some of the older 90s cartoons and stuff. Very rounded here, and the way he was drawn in the comic books at that time, or, you know, a few years prior to that. You know, and crazy articulation. I'm going to go over all the articulation right now, I guess. So a good left to right articulation at the head. He can look up a bit, can look down a bit, so that's pretty good. The joint here in the shoulder is good. Ball joint, can move in, can move out. Is this a swivel? Yeah, swivel at the bicep. Double jointed elbows. Wrists that can go in and out, and then fingers that can be articulated. The strap here for the, or the straps here for the shield, and then this part that actually fits around his wrist, whereas the face-off cap, I think it uses the same shield, or a very close shield, maybe a repaint, and it doesn't actually fit. This one fits like a glove. It fits perfect around his waist, and you can actually make him wear this too. You can put this over his shoulders and have him wearing the shield on his back, so that's awesome. Left-right articulation right here, and then another point of articulation right there. You can turn at the waist, ball joint right there. It will turn at the upper thigh. Double joint knees, turns at the lower calf, and then great articulation with a huge pivot here, and goes forward and back, and then of course toe joint right there. So yeah, so you can get this guy into some amazing poses, man. Definitely this is a collector's item. If you're going to get a Captain America though, I will say that this is not the best Captain America to get. The best one to get is certainly going to be this one, which is a much improved version in pretty much every way. He's a better size. He's a little bit taller, and you know, he's more realistic looking. He's sculpted better for sure. Definitely, this is the better Captain America for sure. There's no question about it. But this Captain America is kind of like a classic version Captain America. You know, it's very cool. The paint is basic, but again, this is the first series of Marvel Legends, so this is kind of the way it should be. He does have a fishnet painting, which is kind of hard to see, but it is in there. It's kind of like a black, but it's very faint. It's very you know, thin, whereas this guy actually has it sculpted in. The belt on this one is actually more comic accurate. This kind of belt he doesn't wear very often, although, you know, I guess sometimes he's drawn stuff like that a little bit. This guy has better articulation for sure. This is the best Captain America figure. This figure here, I'm going to give two scores. I'm going to give a retro score, you know, and a nostalgia score. So the retro nostalgia score will be 10 for me for sure. For many of you, it'd probably be 10 too, because this was the beginning right here. This was the first wave. A sick figure to own, a nice figure to own, mint on card to have on the wall. As far as today's standards go, and this cap, if you're going to get a cap, definitely get this one. If you really like Cap a lot, grab this guy too, because he's very nice. He's a very cool figure. He's a little bit too short for the modern Marvel Legends, but a very, very nice figure. I would say that I'd have to give this cap a, for when he came out, he's a 10 out of 10. But by today's standards, I'm going to say he is a 8 out of 10. Excellent articulation, great colors in the paint. The sculpt, of course, as you can see here, by today's standards, is not the greatest for what we have now. But, this was a stepping stone for sure. And definitely a sick figure to own if you guys really like Marvel Legends. Alright, that's it for now. Peace, guys.